What is up, heroes of Dominion? My name is Charlie. This is Hero Wars Central, and in today's video, I want to talk about a really interesting strategy when it comes to guild wars and cross-server wars, both Global Championship on Hero Wars Mobile and Clash of Worlds on Hero Wars Facebook and Web. To a lesser extent, those two game modes, but this will work in all versions of Hero Wars. So if you're a Facebook web player or a mobile player, stick around. You're going to get some value out of this.
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
One of the things that you will notice once you've been in guild wars for a while is you're going to face the same guilds week after week. Maybe the same 4 guilds, maybe the same 5-ish guilds. If you're in Silver League or Bronze League, then it's the same, 8-ish teams, 10-ish teams. If you're in the Bronze, it's a little bit more. But you're going to face the same guilds roughly every single week. And while that's not a bad thing, like you can get used to people and who uses what and the different strategies that different guilds use, one of the things that I would recommend you do from time to time is to change up your defense. Okay, change up your defense. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I had a pretty nice defense set up of Kark, Sebastian, Isaac, Astaroth, and Martha. Now, I did a video a little while ago talking about why Isaac is bad on defense. It's more so if he's in the tank position, but obviously the attacking team here didn't bring any magic damage, which made Isaac basically useless. You can see he only did 44,000 damage, and Speedy Burgett here did defeat me. Now, big surprise. It's a 1 million power level team versus an 870k power level defense. Very easy to defeat. But Speedy Burgett, I want you to remember that name. Just remember that name. Taking that one step further, Divine Awakening here, the same situation. I'm going to show you that the individual Melinda was able to defeat the same line that I had on defense last week. Similarly, brought not much magic damage. Helios was something that made my Isaac do a little bit more damage overall in the fight, but it was still a loss. Now, chances are that Speedy Burgett and Melinda have been designated to attack me every single week in Guild Wars, and they probably have a nice history of defeating me and this team. But this past week, I decided to change things up, and I slightly tweaked my defense. I pulled Isaac out in favor of Nebula. I've been working on my Nebula a lot lately, which is a point that I'm going to make in just a second. And if you take a look at yesterday's defense, let's go down here to the very bottom. Speedy Burgett failed against me. You guys remember this team beat me last week. Now, there was not any change to the heroes that they brought, but my change was to this Nebula. And I can show you the fight real quick if you'd like. Basically, what ended up happening is I kind of got lucky, which maybe skews this conversation a little bit. I kind of got lucky and I was able to hit Dante with my Kark. In fact, I hit him twice, one time to kill him, and then of course he got revived by Astaroth, and then again I killed him. Yasmin ended up killing most of my team, but not before I timed them out, right? And while this isn't a huge deal in its own, a timeout is like, it's a miss. Somebody can easily come and clean up my Astaroth, Nebula, and Martha line. It actually caused us to win the guild war. Now, it wasn't just me, obviously, that won the guild war. We have a ton of great players with very strong teams. My miss, coupled with a couple of other misses and some successful attacks across the board, let us win the day. And for those of you that are curious about the point spread, the barracks is worth 40 bonus points. 40 bonus points for there. A couple of other misses here and there. The lighthouse was not able to be cleared successfully. They didn't clear the barracks, and we ended up winning by less than 40 points. Now, that one defense, like I said, it wasn't the whole guild war, but it mattered a lot. And then taking it, continuing on with the conversation, if we take a look at today's match, Melinda, you guys remember Melinda from last week, missed on my defense here in the barracks. Right? It's not exactly the same team. I believe that the Kira and the Celeste are different. Maybe a couple more here and there, but it was a loss, and it's a big deal. Now, we usually beat Divine Awakening, so that isn't, a big problem, but we are having some consistency issues defeating Alternate Universe. We're working on that. So what's happening here? Well, these players are just like I'm doing. I go back and I look at last week. So I can go and I can take a look here. Who are my assignments? I don't have any assignments on Divine Awakening this week. So I can go back and look at Divine Awakening last week. Here we go. And I can see who it was that I attacked. Let's see. It looks like I beat Frederick and Crowbar D. Okay, so I probably are attacking these two individuals again today, right? And chances are they're going to bring the same teams that they've always brought. And I can easily look and be like, all right, well, I beat this team last week, this exact team last week, using, these heroes, and the power level hasn't changed much. And I can watch the fight and see if there's any randomness that maybe I got lucky or whatever. But I know, based on last week's history, that I can easily defeat that line. Now, if an individual like Melinda looked at my stuff last week and realized it was a different team, they either didn't realize that my team was different this week or didn't test against my new team. Either way, laziness cost those 2 fights. And I'm not sure if that is going to end up being the difference maker today, given that we beat them so handily last week. And I don't mean to call you out, DA. It's just, it is what it is. Change your defensive lines from time to time. Every other week, every third week, once a month at least, change that defensive line. So here's the cool thing. I went from using Isaac in this line for a couple of weeks in a row to switch to Nebula. Now, I can easily be leveling up my Nebula in the background, right? Or if I wanted to switch it to a double DPS setup, like with Yasmin, or if I wanted to add in a defensive mage like Helios, I could be working on that new hero in the background, and over the course of 2 to 3 weeks, improve the power level of that hero that I'm going to swap in. And then when they do bring their history, if they're using a third-party tool, which we won't discuss any of the names of, if they're using a third-party tool to track wins and losses from past history, maybe I've used this Nebula line in the past, maybe I have, then a significantly stronger Nebula will be a little bit harder to use the history on against, and they'll still have to test against it. So in this way, I'm using the opponent's laziness to our advantage. If you are interested in more Guild War strategy videos like this, I've got a fantastic one on screen right now, continuing your education on how to be successful for your guild in PvP. That's what Hero Wars is all about. Don't forget that we live stream Monday through Friday. I've got the schedule on screen right now. I hope to see you then. But for now, I love you all. Good luck in Dominion.